If you missed it live, then you're in luck. You're listening to the Hey Techies Rewind.
We have a caller.
Okay.
It is Micah from all the way in Portland, Maine.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And also, while we're talking about listeners, a person, Jim, he is on our Google Hangouts right now from Memphis.
Man, I'm glad you're monitoring all this stuff.
Both of these people heard our show on the Airline Pilot Guy podcast.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, so we got a shout out on their show the other week.
Nice.
Captain Jeff and crew on there, Miami Rick. So anyway, we got Mike on the line here, so let me bring him in. He's got a question about phones.
Okay.
You with us, Micah?
I'm right here.
All right. Well, what's your question? Thank you for calling, first of all, and thank you for listening.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. And since I first heard about you guys when we chatted with the Airline Pilot Guy, I've been listening, I guess, for the past 3 weeks on the podcast, and you guys have a great show.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, my question is this. I'm a little bit of a Luddite. I don't own a smartphone, and there's a couple of reasons for this. One is the Luddite factor. One is the privacy factor. I'm a little bit nervous about the privacy that takes place or that gets invaded when you start carrying around a smartphone and putting all your information on it. And the third is I'm cheap. I'm really, really cheap and don't want to go out spending $500 and $600 on a phone. But it's probably time that I get a smartphone. So I listened to you guys last week, and I heard you review the OnePlus X. And then this week on Amazon, the 2015 Motorola 16-gigabyte Moto X came out, available for $199. The OnePlus X is going to be $250.
Yeah.
And then there's the new Moto G that's going to be about, with the 16 gigs, for $220. So they're all within the same price range. Which of those three do you think would make sense for a new person to an Android phone?
Well, first I would encourage you, if you haven't gone into it, don't come to the dark side. I mean, unless you just feel like, man, it's absolutely time to come. Because if I could go without my phone, I wouldn't have a phone. And I'm just like you. I'm concerned about privacy. Because all this stuff that you're signing up for, there's definitely things you're going to get into. Because they offer these services, they're free, but they're really not. You're definitely the product. So, Guru, what are your opinions on as far as the phones that you get? I know you're going to say Apple.
I'm deferring to you because it's all Android. I'm the Apple juicer of the group.
So let's discuss that. Why are you looking at just Android and not any other devices?
Well, primarily because although I would probably I'm all PC, I've never really used Mac stuff, and I know that I'm crazy and I probably should switch over. It's probably better for me, but I would love a 6 Plus, but $650 as opposed to $250.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
So are you going to be carrier restricted on any of this, or?
I'm going to be GSM. I'm not sure whether I'll remain with AT&T because up here in Maine, it's either you have your choice. It's Verizon or AT&T, and if I go AT&T, I can go on Cricket, which is the same carrier.
Okay.
It's an MVNO, and again, that's cheap. I can get 2 gigabytes, I believe 2 gigabytes, and unlimited talk and text with Cricket for about $45 a month, which is pretty good.
So you had the OnePlus X, the Moto G, and what was the third one you were trying to choose from?
It's the new Moto G, and the third one is the older, the Moto X second generation, not the latest one. It would be last year's model that's been available on Amazon for $200, brand new, unlocked.
Let me think. And you're just getting started. So,
are you looking one with a large screen, or is that not really important? I mean, you've never had a smartphone, so I know it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference for me. I want to be able to use Uber. I want to be able, for example, tomorrow, taking the bus down to Boston for a one-day commute. I'm going to be packing my Kindle along with me and my little GPS device because I'm going to need to figure out where I'm going. It would be much handier if I could read my book on a screen and I had Google Maps and my GPS right with me in one device, as well as my Motorola V3 flip phone. Who needs to take all three of them, right?
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things you're going to be upset with is definitely going to be battery life. Since you're swapping from that to a smartphone, you're going to have to be be able to charge it pretty much every day. But if I had to choose between these three phones, I think I would choose the OnePlus X. When they came out with the OnePlus One, I was really excited about the company. But if you've listened to much of the show, I am a huge HTC fan. But I'm having to give them up because I'm dropping Verizon and going with Project Fi. So the new Huawei phone, the Nexus 6P, I'll kind of talk about it in the coming weeks on what my experience with it is. But to me, I can't say I've used the OnePlus stuff, but to me they're an exciting company, and I think they're going to do whatever they have to do to make their phone successful. Your Moto G is kind of your just run of the mill average user phone. It's probably not going to be as snappy as as quick to respond like the OnePlus X would. And then the Moto X, I really don't know much about. Do you know much about that one?
I really don't.
You don't.
I'm very ignorant on Android devices, unfortunately. Maybe I should do a better job.
Yeah, and Michael, our co-host, he's out today, and he's listening in, and he agrees with me. He said he would get the OnePlus X.
Okay, well that's a good way to go. I know that one of another tech show. Can I mention another?
Absolutely.
Tech show? Leo Laporte has recommended the OnePlus One last year. Thought it was a great phone. And right now, he's saying that the Nexus 6, the one that you're getting, he thinks is going to be the best phone out there for Android.
I really hope it is, because for me, this is a huge leap of faith for me, because I'm leaving Verizon. Verizon has great coverage, but I'm grandfathered into their unlimited data, and they're gonna up the price on it. And to me, I didn't switch to their tiered plans because it was a matter of principle for me. So I'd paid outright for a phone, I think like $600 or $700 for a phone, so I could stay on that just to try and stick it to them, and now they're sticking it to me. So for me, it's like I've said in the past, it's exciting, scary times, because I'm really taking a big risk going with a Huawei, which pretty much this is their debut on the phone scene, at least in America, with a flagship phone. And being on a completely new network. And
now, who is that network going to be? Who's that carrier?
So Project Fi, it's through Google, but they use a combination of Sprint, T-Mobile, and Wi-Fi. And it has a special Qualcomm chip in it that will swap between all those networks based on whoever has the strongest connection. So this being Alabama, we don't have very good coverage from other providers beyond AT&T and Verizon.
It's exactly the same up here in Maine.
Yeah, so, and to me, that's a huge problem. I mean, if you were in a large city, T-Mobile and Sprint are probably great, but, we're in between Birmingham and Atlanta, so we're kind of an afterthought market for these huge companies, so.
Yeah, it's the same thing here in Maine. In Portland, we have all of them, and you can get it right within the city, but you go 10 miles outside of the city, and if you're not with AT&T or Verizon, or U.S. Cellular, which is a third that also shares with Verizon towers in a lot of places, then you're out of luck. And I wish, when people talk about some of the MVNOs, which people do on different radio shows here and there, they would say who the carrier is, because if the carrier ends up being T-Mobile or Sprint, it's useless to me.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying.
You are taking a big risk.
I'm taking a big risk. And we have very few T-Mobile subscribers in this area. And they're kind of, I guess, like maybe 10 years in the past, they say occasionally I drop a call. And it kind of, you almost don't expect that now. It's like, what do you mean I drop a call? So, but yeah, as far as your phone, I would go with the OnePlus X. And when you get it, if you get it, definitely call back in and let us know how you like it.
I would be happy to do that, although I won't be able to be much of a critic because it'll be the only phone that I've ever used.
Well, to me that'd be great, because if it's not hard to use, then they did it right. If you can just pick it up and use it and it makes sense, then the engineers that created it did a wonderful job. What
does it mean that it's, rather than being direct Android, it's Cyanogen? I can't remember.
Cyanogen mod. So it's kind of grew from people rooting their phones and doing custom ROMs, basically custom OSs on it. And one of the most popular that got the largest user base was CyanogenMod, and it doesn't use pure Android. It's stuff that they've modded and changed, and which Android has taken some of the stuff that they did,
Right.
And put it into their new versions of Android. And I think some of that was, well, really, to me, one of the biggest things was the app control on what services it could use. So you can actually turn off.
Yes.
You know, if you don't think your flashlight app should have access to your location data, you can turn that off. And that was a big thing. The reason why people, went to that, because you had all these apps that they're not like stuff in Apple. They don't get vetted, and it's kind of, you just pay $100 to Google and you get to post your apps. And then,
so that's a great thing for privacy then.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think that's a new feature in Marshmallow.
It is.
Okay.
So I do app development here as part of my day job, and that's one thing that we've learned through it is it used to be when you installed an app on Android, it said, well, you're allowing it these permissions. And we use an ecosystem through our ERP here for our app, and like some schools that use the same product were like, well, it's saying our users are complaining because it's allowing location, and we don't have the map feature turned on, and so you can selectively turn the stuff on and off now. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, will it allow the automatic Android upgrades to Marshmallow, et cetera, and so on, or is this what I get on it is what it's going to be?
Well, if you go through Verizon's very restrictive on allowing the cell phone manufacturers to push updates. They want to vet it and they want to put all their junk on it. But if you go AT&T, they're pretty open about letting anybody they still have a process that they have to go through, but it's usually a lot more streamlined than it is on Verizon. So
even though it's a Cyanogen app, and I'll be on a mod, and I'll be on probably Cricket, but it's an unlocked phone. It has nothing to do with the carrier. It won't have any carrier services on it. It's just going to have a
as far as over the air updates. Now you can definitely download the update on your computer and put it straight to it, or I'm sure they'll have I can't say on their phone if they'll have a special app that's built into the phone to be able to just allow that to go out and download. But as far as your carrier pushing it, there's a little bit longer process to go on.
Okay. Can I make one more comment on something you were discussing at the beginning of the show?
Absolutely.
You're talking about Star Trek being on CBS, and how if you want that CBS app, you got to pay $6 a month, which is just ridiculous if I'm a up-here Time Warner subscriber, and I already get CBS. But there's also a reason for it, and I hate the cable companies, and I hate the networks, and I hate paying for it. But when you think about it, HBO, when Time Warner or Comcast or whoever carries HBO, they're paying HBO directly. But when you're getting CBS isn't getting any money. That cable company is carrying the affiliate, and the affiliate pays
That's
CBS.
A good point.
Yes.
So therefore, if you want the CBS programming, CBS wants to be paid for the CBS programming. It's like I can't get the NPR stream, which I would love to get. I can get the stream, but I can't get their satellite feed to the radio stations because I got to go through the radio station. They're buying it. I can get a stream, but I can't get the same thing the stations are getting. So I got to choose a station that's playing the show that I like based on the stream that I want to pick up. But that's the whole reason. That's what makes sense. With FX, the cable company's paying FX directly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That does make sense.
Yes, that was a little nearsighted of us tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks
for bringing that up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a great show. I'm going to try to keep listening every week, and I'll be in touch. And Guru will be in touch at other times, probably.
That's right. I'll be in the APG chat room, so I'll shout out to the APG folks that are listening.
And a shout out to Jim, who was in the chat room here, and
yes.
Hello. We know each other from the APG chat room too.
That's correct. So yeah, thank you so much for calling. We appreciate it.
Thank you for
listening.
listening.
Doing a great show.
All right, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Man, that's awesome. That's so humbling too. At the same time, it's just like wow. Like, I
know
it blows my mind. That somebody in Maine is listening to a show in Alabama, but we're trying our best and doing our best. So again, thank you for everybody out there that's listening.
The Hey Techies Show is produced by Mike Stedham and co-produced by The Guru. Station manager is Billy Dunn. Join us again next time for another exciting installment of the Hey Techies Show. It's gonna be great, maybe.